Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Tiffany Benson, one part of Team Benson, and today I am going to go over with you guys actually a weekend of, well, starting Thursday night and ending Saturday morning, which today is Friday that I'm filming this part of it right now. But I'm gonna go over with you guys what is going on in my garden, because at this point it's kind of a mystery that I don't think it's just the rats, but I do have a suspicion. So I'm doing Medicinal Friday today, so that's going to be the video for today. So this video is actually going to be coming out on Saturday, which will help because it will kind of let me get to the bottom of this whole situation. Now, I did pull some vegetables last night, which was Thursday night, and I got some cucumbers, and actually I'll just show you what I got. Alright guys, so I'm pulling up the shade cloth on the garden and I am going to set some traps here. So I think I'm going to set one here since this one got destroyed first, and then I'm going to set one on both sides of that one. Alright, so that's all the traps I have, so hopefully that keeps it a little bit safe. I'm not going to worry about anything else over here just because it wasn't really getting bothered. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a jar over my Chinese red lung noodle beans, just because since I took the Kentucky Wonders from by there, I do kind of feel like I need to cover them a little bit for the night, and just putting a mason jar over them will do the trick. So tomatoes are still getting attacked. That one has like a little pinhole in it and it was getting ready to start turning red. I did go ahead and grab the bottom ones that were down here, and I'm leaving these ones for the night. I think that I am going to, just for the sake of experiment, I'm going to get a little burlap. I have these little burlap sacks that I'm going to stick over these and see what happens. The other thing I'm going to go ahead and grab, guys, are these cucumbers, just in case. Look at these, guys. Nice size. No bite marks, no issues, no problems. Little pickling cucumbers. So then, Thursday night, I put down the forks and then I put down the sticky traps in front of the forks. My thought was that the rats were gonna be like, ooh, watermelon. They're gonna go in front of the forks and then they're gonna get caught in the sticky trap as they're trying to weave their way through the forks. But when I came out this morning, this is what I saw. So my question to you is, what type of yoga ready rats are these, or is it something different? And my thought is it's something different. So I went to the internet and I looked up roly-polies, because I do see a lot of roly-polies in my garden. And ta-da! I found a whole bunch of videos on roly-polies and people that have roly-poly issues in the garden. And in the garden and in the desert. So I thought, you know what? I'm seeing a lot of roly-polies in my garden. I've always thought that they were just composting insects, which they are, so them being in my worm bin never really bothered me, but I have an abundance of roly-polies right now. And maybe it's because I have an abundance of things that are composting, but roly-polies will eat composting things, so dead plants, but they will also eat live plants, unlike the worms that just eat dead plants. So this is what's going on. So guys, I pulled up the sticky traps to water. Now this is Friday. I almost forgot. But look, I do think it's the roly-polies, because the leaves are missing and now there were sticky traps in front of it, but still the leaves are missing. Now what made me really think it is this. I pulled back the shade cloth on my lemon balm and they are turning it into lace. So I think that it's the roly-polies. I'm gonna actually get this tomato because they ate the other one that's on there. Look at that little pretty tomato. But everything else seems to be doing really good. And the other thing that makes me think it's the roly-polies is because over here, they're not out today, but last night when I was watering, I saw all of them kind of crawling around. So, let's go to the store and get some oranges. Now, I do still think that there is a rat issue. Why? Because one, I caught a rat, and two, because I think that's what's eating my tomatoes. I think the first time might have been a bird, but this time the tomato was actually all the way gone. So, and there was just like little remnants of tomato skins. So I'm glad I did pick a couple of my green tomatoes. I did leave a couple out there, but I need to be able to trap these little suckers. Trap everything. Now, for the roly-poly situation, I looked for organic ways to take care of roly-polies, and ta-da, there is a magical way that's organic, and it is oranges. And oranges actually is something that grows amazingly in Arizona. And it kind of makes sense that desert gardeners would use oranges in order to have some form of pest control. Now, it doesn't kill the roly-poly or anything like that. It's just preferred for them to eat over your new little starts. So what people were doing is that they take oranges, they slice them in half, and then at night they put the oranges face down next to the starts. And the roly-polies are attracted to the oranges, and they are underneath the oranges eating the oranges. So in the morning, the idea is that you come out, you scoop up the orange, you scoop up the pile of roly-polies, and you throw them away. And what that does is over time, it's going to decrease the amount of roly-polies that are in your garden. So it's going to really help to bring down that amount of roly-polies that are in your garden. And it's also going to allow your vegetables to grow to a bigger height, because roly-polies only tend to like new little starts and half-dead vegetables. So explains why they were attacking my mint or my lemon balm, because my lemon balm is really getting affected by the heat and not loving life. And while they were attacking the new little starts, which were everything else in my garden. So my idea is to go to the store and grab some oranges because I do not have any, and since it's Arizona right now, they're pretty much on sale all summer long, so I'm gonna go ahead and grab those. All right guys, so there's a local little fruit stand by my house, so I went there and they gave me some oranges that were going bad, so they gave me those just for free. And then also, I just have to show you guys this. Isn't this adorable? It's a little company out of Kansas, and it's popcorn. So there's a bag in here. You put the corn cob on there, and then apparently you put it in a microwave and it pops. Or you could put it in a skillet and it pops. So I thought that was fun. So I'm going to be cutting up these oranges tonight, because at night is when the roly-polies come out. And I'm going to put a rat trap in front of the oranges, because if it is really the rats, then the rats are still going to want to eat the oranges, and they're going to get trapped in the rat trap. This is all me guessing. And if it's just the roly-polies, then the roly-polies will be underneath the oranges. And if it's both, then I'll have roly-polies and oranges, and I'll be completely disgusted in the morning. So that's organic gardening. Let's wait until tonight and we'll put out everything. All right, good morning guys. So it is now Saturday morning and we're gonna go outside and see what we found. All right guys, so now for the moment of truth. Now, I see that there's nothing on the watermelon plant. It hasn't been eaten. There's nothing in the rat trap. Oh, I really don't want to lift this up. It's gonna. And there's nothing really underneath. Oh, there's a little bit. Ugh, that's so gross. Let's check this one. Yeah. There are a few roly-polies. Let's check this one. There's nothing going on there. Let's check this one. Nothing going on there. And then let's check this one. There is an earwig there. Now I was blaming this on the roly-polies, but when I turn the leaves, there goes a worm. So we are going to use our soapy water / peppermint oil spray. So I'm thinking instead of the roly-polies, once again, it was the worms that were eating my lemon balm. So they're gonna get a shot of the spray too as well. But there is a tomato eaten there. And then when I come down here, there is a tomato eaten there. So, conclusions. Oh, look at the squash, guys. I think so far the squash is working. It looks pollinated. So now I want to talk to you guys about my conclusion and what I am going to do about it. Now, one of the things I kind of loved about kind of investigating with you guys is that we got some really, really good ideas on what to do for the garden. And I want to kind of stress to you guys that plants get eaten for one of two reasons. Because they're sick or because they're yummy. So we eat them because they're yummy, so we are also a predator of that plant, and just like bigger things like rabbits and rats and birds and different things like that. Now the ones that eat them, and also pill bugs. Pill bugs, they're composting worms, but if there's not anything to compost, then they will eat whatever looks yummy, like your little baby plants. So I think in my garden I have a combination between rats, pill bugs, and obviously now caterpillars. And I want to talk about what plants that they are eating and whether they're sick or they're just yummy, and what we can do in order to prevent that. Now, I loved the fork idea. I think that that kept the rats away, but I think that the rats did nibble a little bit at that plant, but I don't think that they were really what ate the plant. I think that they got caught in the trap because it was running by to try and get up to the tomatoes. I think the rats were eating the tomatoes because they were fully gone. And if the birds were pecking the tomatoes, there would be more peck marks versus like actual chunks coming out of it, like bite marks, and it being fully gone. Now there is a chance that there are birds, but I really, really think it's the rats instead of the birds, being the case that I did see one bird peck at it, but that wasn't like anything. That was one of the ones that were like on the very, very top so that it was exposed, not underneath the canopy. And I did catch a rat. So conclusion on that, I'm gonna go with rat. Now for the watermelon plants, I'm gonna go with pill bugs, because having it protected by the forks, which I love that idea. Somebody asked about rabbits. I think that would be an even better idea for rabbits, just because rabbits are bigger, so they're gonna really bump into it, versus rats that can kind of maybe maneuver around it. I don't think I had yoga rats. I think they were just pill bugs. I think that I would have saw more pill bugs if I had gone before the sun came up, because pill bugs are out at night. So I am going to keep the oranges by those, and I'm also going to put out one of my precious little starts that I've been holding, and then put oranges around that, just kind of as a sacrifice. I have 2 Armenian cucumbers, and I have some seedlings going inside, so I think I'm going to sacrifice one of the Armenian cucumbers. Probably the one that's already tendling, so that one needs to go anyway. And I'll just put oranges around that. But what I am going to do is I'm going to put something in the compost bin, because I looked in the compost bin, which is where the pill bugs are typically always at, where they're composting, and there was nothing for them to eat in there. So that would make sense that they came out of the compost bin and then went and looked for little baby starts. So I have a big bag of little worm food that I had in the freezer, and I'm going to put that in the compost bin. Now, for the worms. The worms, I have to spray those plants in order for the worms to really kind of stop eating them. I'm going to use a mixture of peppermint oil with some soapy water. Now the soapy water is going to be what really helps, and the peppermint is going to be more of a deterrent. Now when it comes to spraying the plants, those plants are getting eaten because they're sick, not because they're yummy. Those bush beans are trying to grow, like they're not already at a substantial size where they can really withhold these 100-degree weathers. They're still pretty young. So I had that kind of sheer shade cloth versus actually putting up like a 40% shade cloth on it. So I'm going to, one, take that sheer cloth off, and then I'm going to put up the big 40% shade cloth. I do have an extra one, and I was just being lazy because it's a lot more clips versus just a sheer one which you just throw up there. But it was shredded and it wasn't really protecting those plants. So those plants were starting to get sick, which then brought in the moths, because if you guys don't know, the moths are attracted to a pheromone that the plants give off to let them know to pretty much take them out. The peppermint is going to block that smell, but the plant is still sick. So I still have to do something to help make the plant healthy again. Otherwise, eventually it's just going to kill itself somehow. Now for the lemon balm is a cooler plant. So on this side of my garden, it gets a lot of heat. And so therefore I need to move it essentially because the shade cloth is not providing enough shade for it. I don't know where I'm gonna move it to, and I don't know if it's kind of worth it. I might just spray down the plant, put it somewhere else, and kind of see how it goes. I did dry a bunch of lemon balm, so I have lemon balm, even though I would love for there to be more lemon balm. I'm just gonna also wait for the lemon balm just to grow back in the fall. So, oh, and then for the tomatoes, my plan is to peppermint deterrent. Now, I do not want to spray my tomato plant with the peppermint oil. And I say that because it's 105 today. And putting oil on my plants, even at night and it going into the morning, where there's no shade cloth, because I can't put the shade cloth over my fence line. My HOA's been fine with the tomatoes, but they do not want the shade cloth over the fence line. So that means that can potentially burn my plant, the oil in the peppermint oil. So it would deter the rats, but it would burn the plant, causing the plant to be sick, and then that would bring in something else in order to kill the plant. And I don't know if you guys haven't noticed this yet, I should knock on wood or something, but I do not have the caterpillars, the tomato hornworms yet, because the plants hadn't got hot enough to where it's then bringing in those, or they haven't gotten sick enough to where it's bringing in those. So that means I still have time to ripen up those tomatoes. So what I'm going to do instead is I am going to douse strings of jute twine in peppermint oil, and then I'm going to hang those right underneath the wire, so the arch. So then that way that smell is still surrounding that area. So guys, I have a package of worm food, which if you guys watch my videos over the winter, you know that I saved some of my old leaves and I just put them in the freezer. So I am going to go put this in the worm bin since it does not have any food, and I think that'll attract all those composting insects back to it. So this is the plan for tonight. I am going to do all of that, and then hopefully you guys come back for my garden tour tomorrow and you can see if it worked. So I just want to once again encourage you guys to grow organically, because a lot of times, yes, you can use a lot of measures. Like for me to get rid of pill bugs, I could put diatomaceous earth all around the plant, but that could affect the bees, that could affect the good insects that are trying to track through it too, as well as hurting the pill bugs as they attract through it too as well. And then also, if I kill a lot of the pill bugs and I decrease the population to a really bad point, that then takes away the geckos, because the geckos like to eat the baby pill bugs. And it makes my bins compost a lot slower, because my worm compost bins are being composted really quickly. As you guys can see, there was nothing in that compost bin. Well, when I looked at it, there was nothing in that compost bin, but it would make it go a lot slower, which would then bring in more rodents and rats and different things like that, because they would smell something composting. So it could really just make a cycle of craziness if you guys are just using a bunch of different things all at once. So I encourage you guys to kind of take time to see what it is and then analyze what's going to be the best way to solve the problem without hurting your garden. So until next time, grow yourselves a garden, because even a small space can provide you with tons of food. And thank you guys for going on my little investigating journey with me.